We're speaking this morning to Rhys William, who's a British YouTuber, food show host, and author who has made Malaysia his home. Welcome, Rhys, to the LITE Breakfast.
Hi, thanks for having me. Good morning.
It's brilliant. I've watched you on TV multiple times, and I'm like, man, this guy's Malay is brilliant, man.
So how long have you been residing and working here in Malaysia, Rhys?
So I moved here in 2013. So it's been the 7th year now.
Wow. Okay. But what prompted you to come to this part of the world?
Actually, I first came here on holiday in 2012. Just on holiday, just came to Malaysia. I think that there was about 2-3 weeks.
Okay.
But 2-3 weeks didn't feel like enough time. I felt like there's a lot more here that I want to see. So the next year I came back for 2 months.
Okay.
And at that point in time, I was still quite young. It was quite easy to, I guess I didn't have that many commitments in the UK. So I decided, okay, why not try to move here? See if I can sort of set up life here. If it doesn't work after a few months, I can go back, and then 7 years later, I'm still here,
But what was it about Malaysia that attracted you to come back for more?
There's quite a lot of things. I think one thing was definitely the food. I feel like even now, I've spent 7 years here, I still haven't fully explored all the food there is.
Yep.
The other part was definitely the weather is nice, It's hot, but it's consistent. And I think the other thing was the people. The people seem really friendly. I mean, even in KL, which is like a really big, busy city, you get a much more welcome feeling for me than you would say in London, where it's a big city, but it doesn't feel as welcoming. If you're an outsider, you don't really feel like you can fit in as much,
Okay. Were you welcomed with open arms when you came? And what were you doing in the first few months that you were here?
In the first few months I was here, I still had my business in the UK. So I was still doing it, but remotely, because back then I was doing website design, marketing, so you could sort of do it anywhere.
Uh-huh.
So I was doing that for the first few months, which was quite nice because I could still sustain that. And I would say, yeah, definitely welcomed with open arms. It wasn't hard for me to fit in here, find friends, start doing hobbies and stuff.
Right.
So I would say open arms, definitely.
So when you came over to Malaysia, the first place that you settled in was Kuala Lumpur.
Yes.
Have you visited the other states?
I've gone around the whole Malaysia now, every
Wow.
state. But I've only ever stayed in KL. I mean, I technically stayed in Selangor, but it was like the border, I stayed in Ampang, right?
Oh,
so
okay.
it's basically KL,
You're definitely very Malaysian. You know the difference between KL and Selangor already.
Now, what were some of the challenges that you faced in your early days here in Malaysia, and how did you overcome them?
I think one challenge was definitely, I guess, adapting to a slightly different, not slightly different, a very different culture and very different way of doing things, Another thing I found quite difficult was when I started to learn the language, having the, I guess you could say, confidence to go out and speak it, One good thing I think which helps with Malaysia is, everyone's English is very good. So you don't need to learn Malay to get around. You can get around with English,
Right.
And that was one challenge for me because I really wanted to learn the language. But it's hard to practice because you can just speak English and you get along fine,
Yeah.
Yeah, but your command of the Malay language is really impressive 7 years on. I mean, how did you learn? Did you learn from a teacher? Did you learn from books?
I actually learned from friends. I mean, I started out learning, I got some books, but I didn't get I got school books here. I went to the bookstore and got the school books for grade 2, grade 3, with all the activities. But then after that, I just started practicing. Me and my friends, we would go hiking quite a lot. So we would talk and I would tell them, please speak in Malay. I want to pick it up,
Right.
teach me stuff. So it kind of went from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started doing all my YouTube videos, because the whole crew was Malaysian, I just said to them, let's just speak Malay all the time so that it helps me pick it up and get it there.
Right. So you just wanted your brain to really get used to it.
Yes, you have
Force
to.
it, right?
You have to dive in the deep end and not give yourself any chance to speak English. Otherwise, you just end up speaking English,
Right, okay.
But why do you think it's so important to speak the country's national language?
I think it's very important from the sense of view of it is the national language, I know from looking into it quite a lot, Malaysia has over 130 languages. If you look at all the different versions, you go into all I guess you could say the different
dialects, accents,
everything, it's got over 100. I
Right.
think 137, you know. But then I guess the good thing is there's that one national language which I guess is covers everyone lah, you know. And I also feel like if you're going to live in another country and I guess try and make it your home, it's a good thing to really, I guess you could say, try to embody that country as much as you can, you know.
At what point did it feel like home?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Because 7 years, and initially a few months, I'm just gonna keep doing my website design thing here. At what point do you go, wow, I really feel comfortable here?
I think it was one time I went back to the UK for quite a while actually. I think I was back there for 2 months. And I found myself missing Malaysia a lot quicker than I thought I would, you know?
Right.
Like it was only a few weeks, so I started to think like, oh man, I miss Malaysia, you know? And then it's like, it's strange because it's not my home, you know? But I was in my home and I felt like I just want to go back, you know? Whereas normally it's the other way around. You go somewhere else, you miss, you know, your home, you want to go back there. Whereas for me, it was the opposite. Then at that point, I realized like, well, the UK is technically where I'm from, but it's not really my home, you know? Because the majority of my adult life has been in Malaysia, you know?
Yeah.
So it feels, I think that was the point, you know?
So what do you miss about Malaysia the most when you're back in the UK?
Oh, definitely the food. You get so used to good food, right? That when you go back to London, it's like, oh no, why is the food so boring? You know, like, because you like, what's it? You get like manja, right? You get like so used to all the nice food that it's hard to, you know, like adapt to bread and potatoes like, all the time. You know,
Wait, really? Don't you get like pies and fish and chips and stuff like that?
you do. Although one thing I've noticed with the UK is if you go around the whole UK, the food doesn't really vary that much. I mean, you have your regional specialties, but the same staples are everywhere. Whereas I guess in Malaysia, you know, you can go to another part of the country and the food will be completely different.
True.
You know?
Yeah. East Coast and West Coast, Sabah, Sarawak, right? Yeah.
Now tell us about your YouTube videos. Why did you start vlogging in a sense?
Okay. I actually started blogging like in 2015. And it was actually just to practice my Malay. Like a friend told me if you write in a language you're learning, it helps you to like understand it, you know, like constructing sentences. So my friend, she had a blog in English. That's how she practiced the English. So I started a blog in Malay. And I thought, okay, what should I talk about? I like the food. I'll just talk about food, you know? And then it started to get people reading it, although it wasn't ever the intention to put it out. And then people started to say, Rhys, why don't you do a video? I want to see you talk, you know? So it became like, started from that, like to practice my Malay, I would do videos. And then the interest was there to the point of where it's like, okay, well, why not do more? You know, and it sort of grew from there. It was never an intention to one day I'm going to be a food, you know, vlogger. You know, it started slow and then it just sort of snowballed into what it is now, you know?
Well, you're one of the most popular mat sallehs here in Malaysia now, I think, a celebrity. Do you get stopped outside, like when you're eating and people wants to take pictures with you?
Quite a lot, which is nice because, you know, I think one thing to definitely remember is without the fans or the people who watch the videos, there's nothing there, you know? So, like, although definitely sometimes when you're in the middle of eating or, you know, with your family or something, some people might find that quite disturbing. But for me, I think it's nice because these are the people that support you. They watch your videos, you know? So without them, you wouldn't have that opportunity.
Right.
So it's nice. And it's nice to meet people because the demographic of people who watch my videos is quite wide, you know, like it's quite surprising sometimes the people that come up, you know.
Who did you initially think when you first started doing this the videos? You're like, who's gonna watch this, right? And then now, who do you think would like your videos initially?
You know, when I first started, I think I thought it would be like my local friends, you know, who would watch it, and it definitely was them who started, you know. And then after that, I realized it was like mostly like makcik, you know, like because I did a lot about food, you know. I did some cooking, you know, so it was a bit like that sort of style. Whereas now I'd say it's pretty much anyone. And one thing which is nice is a lot of young people watch. I get a lot of messages from young people that say they really want to start YouTube, you know, they want to get into that. They watch and they say that it's like inspiring them to do it. So I see like that's the most like, because I never would have thought that would happen. Yeah, that's quite nice to get people saying that, you know. Yeah.
And is that why you came up with a book?
Yes, that is actually. So I thought, okay, people are messaging me all the time asking about it. I did do an event last year like just like, hey, come down for the day, we'll talk a bit about YouTube, because I think the interest is there, you know, and I guess it's partly giving back, you know, because a lot of these people have really supported me and what I've been doing. So it's like a way I can do something more for them, you know.
And your book is all written in Malay. That's
Yes.
quite a feat.
It is quite a feat, and it was quite a feat to write it as well. You know, like, oh man, it was hard. I didn't realize at that point the difference between spoken Malay and written Malay is quite different. You know,
Okay.
a lot of words I never heard of before.
Right.
So this book actually teaches people how to become YouTubers.
I tried to make it. I mean, a lot of people look to YouTube from the money side. You know, like because you hear the stories about people being rich
Yeah,
from
yeah.
YouTube. I tried to do it from the point of view of like, if you have an interest in something that you're passionate about, and you think, I want to be like this, it's
Yeah.
about connecting what you enjoy with what other people will enjoy to watch. So it's more like I guess you could say, how do you get started with that? Not so much from the whole point of view of, oh yeah, let's go into this and make money. It's more like that's a secondary thing. Once you do this, maybe after a few months, then you can maybe do that side. So it's more, I guess, for beginners, you know, people that might want to do it, but they don't really have the idea how to like get started, you know?
Yeah. Did you ever think that you would actually be an author, like write a book? Not just a book, in Malay.
Definitely not in Malay. I
Right.
think if we had a time machine, we go back to Rhys 7 years ago
Right,
and say, okay, Rhys, from the future, in 7 years' time, you're going to write a book about
Yeah.
YouTube in Malay. You'd be like, really?
Yeah.
Come on lah. Like, come on, really?
Don't pull my
Yeah.
legs,
Don't
right?
pull my
Actually,
legs.
no. The Rhys from 7 years ago will first go, what is this la thing that you keep?
Yes, I know. It'd be like, is that really you, Rhys? Oh, you put on so much weight as well.
When you go back to the UK, do people comment on your accents?
Yes, quite a lot.
Have you become very Malaysian in that sense?
It's funny because I wouldn't say my English is like has gone, but when you go like back to like my hometown, you know, like quite a thick like, you know, like accent,
Yeah.
people do say it does sound like.
Which part of?
So I grew up
hometown?
just south of London in Surrey, you
Right.
know, but
Yeah.
it's still got quite a. It's not like a posh accent. It's quite a thick, I guess you could say, like working class accent,
Right.
you know. So I do sound quite different.
heavy
from that.
Cockney accent.
It's
Not
not that
really
heavy
fun.
Cockney, but it's definitely got influence
Right,
from
right,
it,
okay.
you know. Like one time I was in my hometown, I went to a shop to buy like a phone SIM card, and I was talking to the person there, you know, and they were like, "Oh wow, where are you from? Are you from like South Africa, New Zealand?" I was like, "I'm from here, lah." You know, like I was born 5 minutes down the road. You know, like it felt very strange. You know, like I've been in this shop for years in this town, but they're asking where I'm from. You know, yeah.
Well, life has changed, man.
Now, we all know that you are very, very Malaysian at heart, but let's just do a little quick test.
Oh,
A little
okay.
quiz to see how Malaysian are you.
Okay.
Okay. First question.
Mhm.
What is the name of our flag?
Okay. Jalur Gemilang.
Very well.
Well
Yes.
done.
Very well done.
So you said you visited the entire Malaysia,
yeah.
the
Yes.
entire country.
Mhm.
How many states are there in Malaysia?
Oh, okay. This is quite a tricky one because,
Exactly.
you know, technically there's 13 states, right? But then if you put the Wilayah Persekutuan, right, federal territories, you get the extra state. You know?
Wow. You know your stuff, dude.
Do you know why? Because recently I said 13 states
Yeah.
and I got hey, no, there's 14. It's like I counted them all. Where's the other one?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you know the federal. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So
It's 13 states and 3 federal territories.
Now it's even
Yeah.
more because you got like Labuan and everything else as
It's
well,
3,
right?
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
All right. Well, so far so good. All right.
okay, they're getting harder though.
Which is the best and most expensive durian variety here in Malaysia?
Wait, do you even like durians?
Oh, I love durians.
Oh, okay. Cool. Then you'll notice. Okay.
Okay. I would say Musang King, but isn't there another one that is more like expensive?
I have no idea.
Well,
I hate durian.
I actually googled this, and Musang King is apparently the most
The-
expensive one. Yeah,
And it is quite expensive.
Really?
yeah.
I don't know. I can't stand durians. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So you love durian, but which variety do you prefer?
I like I think if you have to pick one, maybe durian kampung lah. You know,
Oh.
because you know for those ones it's like mix and match. Sometimes you get a really sweet one, sometimes you get like a really bitter one. But the first time I tried it, I
Yeah.
couldn't.
Smells
You
like
couldn't.
feet.
Yeah, it smells. It's like what is that? You know, like,
Yeah. But now you love it.
It took 3 times, and
Right.
a lot of like other foreigners I speak to say the first 2 times you won't like it, the third time you like it. You
Right,
know?
right.
Most
But you
people give up after
continued.
one.
You continued trying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wow.
This is your last task.
Okay.
Since your Malay is so good,
Okay.
sell us your favorite Malaysian dish entirely in Malay.
Sell us.
Sell it to us.
Tell it to us, yeah.
Oh,
Which is your favorite?
that's a hard enough question as it is. Okay.
What's your favorite Malaysian dish?
Oh, I think if I have to pick one, I would say nasi kerabu.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Okay. So sell us the nasi kerabu that
Okay.
you love.
Sella. Okay. It's a bit awkward speaking Malay after we spoke in English
Okay,
for so long.
kenapa Rhys, kenapa suka
Okay,
makan
okay.
nasi kerabu?
Okay, nasi kerabu ni sebenarnya satu makanan yang sangat-sangat menarik sebab walaupun dia berasaskan nasi yang tu,
Yeah.
juga ada macam-macam ulam. Kalau tengok nasi kerabu betul, dia ada kadang-kadang ada 40 lebih jenis ulam yang potong kecil-kecil. So sebenarnya dia kira healthy lah. Lepas tu dia punya warna biru tu dari bunga telang ada berkhasiat juga bila kita makan. So I'm trying to sell the health
That's
benefit.
brilliant.
Very
It's
nice.
so awkward lah. You know, like it's so weird. You know?
Sedap. My goodness.
5 out of 5.
Okay,
Wow.
lepas tak?
Lepas,
Okay.
lepas. You are very Malaysian.
Oh, man.
Now, Rhys, what are your future plans? Do you plan to make Malaysia your permanent home?
I would like to. I'm in the process of applying for PR at the moment. In terms of criteria and everything, because I've been here more than 5 years, it's a very, long process because
Right.
it's not something easy to get. But that's my long-term plan. But yeah, I definitely want to settle down here. Like my wife's here.
Yeah.
My son, although he's British, he was born here. So like I definitely see us as a family staying here for the long term.
Right.
As long as Malaysia still welcomes us, then we'll definitely be here.
All right.
Okay.
But
So
the- KL is where you are now. Would you move to I don't know, to really immerse yourself into something different? Would you move to Kelantan or Terengganu or something?
I would definitely consider Kelantan because I like Kelantan food.
Right.
Or maybe Kedah. I quite like Kedah. Like with the rice fields,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Like that's, I guess, part of the long-term plan is being able to, I guess you could say, retire lah, but outside
Right,
the
right.
city, you know?
I would love to see other foreigners, tourists driving by some jelapang paddy and then see, hey, look, there's a guy out there living in the middle of the paddy field. Wait, who is that? He's a white dude. It's you.
Just right in the middle, right? Like little island.
Well, earlier you said you've moved your wife here, your son was born here. Was there a motivating factor to bring everyone here to Malaysia?
I think it started off when I first wanted to come here. And for those first few months, it was sort of like a test, But then once I decided to stay here, I kind of set in my mind that as long as Malaysia still welcomes us, there's still opportunity here. There's still feel like, I guess you could say, you want to be here. The plan would be to stay here,
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, it's strange because going back to the UK, sometimes it doesn't feel like home as much because I've been here for quite a while now,
Yeah.
But your family in the UK?
My family in the UK, like my parents and stuff, they understand now. They came here last year, so I've been pestering them for 6 years.
Right.
Come to Malaysia, come and try the food. Last year they came, and I think they finally understood why, because they didn't want to go back.
Oh, so they're
My dad's already planning to retire.
right,
so
right. That's nice. That's brilliant.
Now, what would you say to other foreigners who probably are thinking about making Malaysia their home as well, like you have?
I would say definitely consider Malaysia. I think what's really good here is, like I said, the people are very friendly, And I also think as well there's a lot of opportunities in Malaysia, not in terms of just business or work, but, there's so much to see, there's so much to do. You could really come to Malaysia, just by itself, and you've got enough things to do and to see, to really experience it. There's a big opportunity there. I would say definitely consider Malaysia without a doubt,
And you don't have to have multiple different kinds of clothes for different seasons.
No, you just like one set of clothes is fine, it's either hot or rain, right? When I first came, I brought a raincoat trousers, welly boots, and everything, and then afterward, as is it hot or raining? Okay, but the temperature's the same.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. You save on your baggage allowance, right? You
Yeah.
know.
Get slippers. That's it.
And you don't need Wellingtons. You need slippers.
Yeah,
that's
slippers,
all.
right? Slipper Japan, right?
Well, thank you so much, Rhys, for
Thanks for
talking
having
to
me.
us.